Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning,
Bill.
Peter. Imagine we've done that now 314 times, Peter.
Yep.
So welcome, everyone. We're on episode number 314. The name of today's podcast episode is System Secrets That Every Rookie Needs Before Making Offers on Creative Real Estate. So the description reads as follows. Human nature. How do we make decisions for business or just in everyday life? Most want to look smart, make more for less, and know the decision is the best they can do. And if this feeling of confidence is not there, we start to think we are not making the right decision, and our instinct tells us to take less action. Go do some research. Wait a little bit. Or even worse, no. And because we are in the real estate business, we are often dealing with the largest asset most folks have, which elevates the pressure on the decision by 10 to 100-fold. Your job, therefore, is to understand and acknowledge the reality of human nature, along with the needs and wants of sellers. But how do you get the truth about how someone feels about your creative real estate offers without faking you out, misleading you, or even canceling you from their life? Ghosting you, yeah. In this podcast, we're going to show you our system secrets on making offers so you can shortcut your income by knowing exactly what your seller wants, then giving it to them profitably. When we are done when you are done with us today, you will make them. I'm going to do that again. When you are done with us today, you will make them offers they can't refuse. I had a little tongue tie there at the end.
Well, you shouldn't write tongue twisters for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying that we're trying to purchase the biggest asset a person has by using their house, by using our best asset that we have, our minds, to adjust their, I don't have an adjective for, their minds.
Exactly.
Their confused asset.
Their ideas.
They're
Actually, to be honest with you, when I talk to sellers, it's adjust their imagination. Because they're imagining something that not always can be done. I want $500,000 for my $300,000 house. How come? Because I can.
I think I can.
Yeah,
maybe.
Anyways, a little bit of housekeeping here. So there is a link in the description of wherever you're watching us or listening to us. I'm going to come back to that link at towards the end of the podcast. I promise you, Peter, I've had a lot of stuff I've given away. I've had a lot of stuff that I've really, really had a lot of compliments on. I've had a lot of stuff I've given or sold for very cheap money. And a lot of people have given me feedback. But this is something fairly new. And as far as I'm concerned, is going to change the creative real estate business. What I'm going to give away. It's a 2-page document. And I'm going to give it away at the end of the at the end of the call. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Them pretty strong words there, mister.
Yeah, exactly. All right. The other thing is wherever you're watching us or listening to us, make sure you subscribe or you like us or dislike us if you think we're a bunch of hamsters on a wheel. So also, if you want to leave us a review, that would be awesome. Yeah, Peter. And then final, if you have any questions about anything to do with real estate, this podcast, or my YouTube, I have a big YouTube channel too, so you can go get a lot of this on YouTube. It's in Facebook too, but I tend to call Facebook to Facebook because they keep knocking me out and they keep telling me about how I break their rules, but they don't tell me what the rules are, so I don't know how I'm breaking them. So I stay away from them. Yeah. I've been yet again, my second time in a year, I've been kicked off a marketplace because I was trying to sell a house. So there you go.
Hey, our friend Jim came up with a new word. I don't know if you heard this one for Facebook. He calls it farce book. Farce book.
There you go.
I didn't say it. Jim did.
Yeah, there you go. Good morning, Johnny Cashflow. How are you? I just answered to one of your replies to one of the videos asking where you had been, and here you be. So glad you're joining us. Oh, by the way, we record these videos 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday morning. So if you go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, you can watch us there live. And if you have questions about the podcast, not something else, because I'm not going to answer questions off topic because we'll lose the flow of the podcast. But if you have questions about the podcast or have some comments you would like to make, I have a big screen in front of me and I can see all that. So go ahead, join us 9:30 on a Thursday morning. Just go to Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube and just type in Flipping Houses for Rookies. And there you go. Actually, Peter, I'm going to take a second to brag here for a second.
Go ahead.
I arbitrarily, for some reason yesterday, I was doing some work on something because I have three launches coming out, 3 major launches coming out. One is we partnered up with REI Reply, so we're going to be launching the creative aspect because REI Reply is a software, a CRM, and it does marketing, and Sean and I have been using it in unusual ways that REI Reply, the owners didn't even know we can do. So we've partnered up with them and decided to, and it's a wholesale. It was designed for wholesalers, and we've been using it for creative real estate. So we've designed a whole new creative real estate aspect. The second thing is I'm actually going to launch my newsletter. I have a physical newsletter. You will not be able to find it online unless somebody tries to sell it. I'm going to try to block that. And then I have a book that I've written that I'm going to be releasing. And I'll do all those over the next couple months. The newsletter, by the way, is going to be like none other. I get a newsletter from one guy, and it's okay. But this is all, it's going to be nothing but deal structuring. Creative real estate deal structuring. Wow. So I don't know anybody on the market that has that. So, and they tend to run, I've got 10 or 11 of them written already because I wanted to be ahead of myself. And they tend to run around 20 pages.
Holy crap.
So, yeah, so it's not just a regular... Yeah, and it's not like some, willy-nilly newsletter. Well, it's because I'm explaining deal structuring. It's like I'm talking to coaching clients, right?
Wow.
So, anyways, while doing some research for that, I typed into Google Flipping Houses for Rookies. I've not done that in like a very long time because I don't go looking for myself on Google. I know where I am.
It's weird to do that. Like you Google yourself or your business, you see all kinds of odd stuff. I haven't looked up some of my stuff. What'd you see?
4 pages. I dominated 4 pages of Google. There's nothing else but Flipping Houses for Rookies for the first 4 pages.
The first 4.
4 pages. It's 10 things of Flipping Houses for Rookies, Flipping Houses for Rookies, Flipping Houses. Wow. And it's like podcasts and the blog and YouTube, and it's just incredible.
Wow.
So, that's.
I'll have to go try that later, see if I get the same on my computer. Because maybe you get that many because it's your computer.
No, I go into an unlisted browser. They don't, other than my IP.
What do you use? Does Incognito do that?
Incognito, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've used that.
All right, so we wasted 9 minutes here bullshitting around. Let's get to the podcast. All right, so Pete, today I want to start off with a story.
Okay, once upon a time.
All right, exactly. A farmer wanted to buy a pony for his little daughter. Notice how I did that? You said once upon a time, and I said a farmer wanted to buy a pony for his daughter.
Yeah.
And there were two to choose from. Both were equal in all aspects. In other words, the ponies were.
Yeah.
The first man told the farmer he wanted $500 for his pony.
Mm-hmm.
The second man told the farmer he wanted $750 for his pony. But the second man told the farmer he wanted the farmer's daughter to try out the pony for a week before the farmer had to make a purchase decision.
Well, that's nice of him.
He offered to bring the pony out to the farmer's home, along with a week's worth of hay to feed the pony. He said he'd send out his own stableman during the week to show his daughter how to groom and care for the pony. He told the farmer the pony was kind and gentle, but his daughter should ride this pony each day and make certain that she got along with the pony, that they got along together.
Mm-hmm. True.
Finally, he said that at the end of the 7 days, he would drive over to the farmer's house, and either take back the pony and clean up the stall where the pony was staying, or ask to be paid his $750. Which pony do you suppose the farmer decided to purchase for his daughter?
Well, if you could throw monthly payments in on the $750, I'd
Peter
totally
doesn't know
go
what
with
to
that
say.
one. I would totally go with that one. On monthly payments.
The point of my little story today is because of something I have noticed quite a bit lately. And I'm trying to do something about it. Too many are giving the $500 offer, like the sale, like the person selling a $500 pony. They're giving that offer like, here's my number, take it or leave it.
Yeah. Us buyers.
And what's happening is,
You mean us buyers are doing that?
deals are blowing up.
Are you saying that's what we're offering? Us
Yes.
buyers. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's what I've seen. This is what I have observed myself. Now, mind you, I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to get, there are some people on this podcast right now that are listening to me that it's their first time, so they don't know this, right? But you have to realize that I've done hundreds of deals by myself. I've done hundreds of deals with clients. I've talked to thousands of buyers. Sellers and buyers. I've talked to a lot of buyers.
Yeah.
Not thousands of buyers, but hundreds of buyers, right? And I've just always, I know how it's supposed to be and how it's not supposed to be. It's just an instinct, because after a while you just get used to it, right?
Sure.
So recently what I've been doing is if you are in my Let's Talk Real Estate group on WhatsApp, I've been putting invites in there, I'll do it for a week or two and then I'll stop for a week or two. But what I do is I invite them to come and listen to me make my closing calls.
Yep.
Right? So what happens is I actually call my leads. Like last night I called a lead and I bought a house. And they all heard me do it in Akron, Ohio. Mm-hmm. It was an owner finance deal, actually a wraparound mortgage deal, and they heard me talk to the guy, and then we talked about it. And right, so to me that's tremendous value. Okay, but here's the thing: is I'm interacting with the sellers, I'm interacting with coaching clients, I'm interacting with buyers, I'm interacting with realtors, I'm interacting with closing agents in Ohio, I'm interacting with attorneys here in Connecticut, and I do this on a regular basis. So the information I'm giving you is not something that I just read out of a book.
No, you got the inside skinny,
Okay.
as in present time too.
Yeah.
Like today, not like last year. It's like current.
Right. So when I make statements like I'm saying, and I'm being completely arrogant and pompous, and I'm sorry for that, but it's just there's no other way to do it. When I make a statement like what I'm about to make, my observation should be at least curious enough for you to observe them in your own life. You should at least look at it in your own life, or just take my word for it, one or the other. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You can get into the Let's Talk Real Estate in WhatsApp, and you can come join the calls and watch me. You can see it for your own eyes. I mean, it doesn't cost anything, right?
Yeah, it was funny. People wondered.
Here's the observation.
Bill, people wonder how are.
There's two ways to make an offer, as far as I'm concerned. And this is really copywriting fodder. This is when you're doing copywriting. Copywriting means...
Do we have a big communication lag today? Because I started saying something and you kept talking like you didn't hear me. Then you stopped about 10 seconds later. We must have a big long
you keep
lag.
Freezing. Are you there?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I didn't see any freezing going on. That's weird. It was audio, though. The audio froze. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going until Peter comes back. So there's two ways you can make offers. And this is copywriting material, which copywriting means salesmanship on a page, right? You could sell intellectually, which is with logic, and I'm going to go over this in a minute, or you could sell with emotionally, right? So, sorry, I got distracted. So, Johnny, just go to WhatsApp. He's asking, how do I join the group in WhatsApp? I thought you were in there, but maybe you're doing it for the sake of others. So if you just go to WhatsApp, if you have WhatsApp on your phone and just type in Let's Talk Real Estate, you can do that. Or send me a support ticket, which, by the way, if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, top right-hand side, it says support. Send me a support ticket and I'll send you a link. Okay? So, aiming at the intellect means the seller must be objective. Now, what does objective mean, Peter?
Well, I mean, he's just looking at literally the objects involved, the information involved, the numbers, the house, just the facts, like it's on a spreadsheet. How's the numbers going to come out?
So this is very important to me because I could spend the rest of the podcast just talking about this. But I'm gonna do it very quickly. I'm gonna do it in about 2 minutes with two analogies. Mm-hmm. Watch Big Bang Theory. Sheldon is completely objective about everything. It's all about the science, right? But here's the problem: we're not that way. It's not just about the science; it's how we feel. Right? And here's what happens. And I'm going to tell you this and this is what triggered this whole thing for me, okay? Mm-hmm. And I realized that this happens in my life because here's what the deal is in my life. My ex-wife has an extremely high IQ. Okay?
Really?
My two daughters have good IQs. Mm-hmm. I mean, my oldest daughter's going for a PhD. Right? My youngest daughter, which you know, she's got the personality of an ant. But man, could she do shit. I mean, she's got a computer science degree and she's just smart as hell. The other day I had my computer crashed and she was over here working and she's flipping around screens. She was doing it so fast, Peter, I couldn't even register what screen she was on. I was sitting right next to her. She was doing it so fast I couldn't even see the screen. Wow. And she knew, right? Wow. I decided a couple months ago when I started thinking about this, here's what I've done for my children. Now, I've been divorced for 20 years, and I left my kids, I left the house when they were 9, 10 years old, right? Here's what I do for my children, and here's what I do for you, and here's what I do for a lot of people in my life. I implement common sense. because I didn't grow up with this high. I mean, I have a pretty good IQ, I found out later on, but I didn't grow up with all this book smart and all this intellectual shit and like go to the lawyers. I grew up poor as hell, man. I had to fix my own bicycle because I didn't even have spare bikes for parts. I had to like MacGyver it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I ended up with a lot of street smarts. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people that are listening to me can relate to this. Got a lot of street smarts, but maybe not so much book smarts.
Yeah.
So what happens is aiming at the intellect means the seller must be objective, which to me means they have lack of common sense when they're doing this. When you're trying to sell objectively, there's a lack of common sense. And they're trying to reason with something they don't understand, either the seller or the person giving the offer. So you could have a rookie that doesn't fully understand something and they're just trying to like do what I say to do, or they're trying to follow a script, but they don't know why the script says what it says. Mm-hmm. They're just reading it, which is okay, but think of it this way. Imagine if Sandra Bullock went in front of a camera and just read her scripts without the emotions.
Yeah.
Now, as a guy, and I know you agree, as a guy, she's pretty hot.
We could watch her just recite the alphabet, pretty much.
Right?
But it's nice that there's some acting, too, while you were there.
But it won't sell tickets except for a bunch of perverts, okay? So what happens is we're giving these intellectual offers, like I'll give you $250,000. Well, if you don't want $250,000, what's the least you can do, right? And I know this because here's what happened. Something very, very cataclysmic happened to the real estate business. Mm-hmm. Well, it's called COVID.
Yep.
And the reason why it was cataclysmic is because for almost 2 years, we couldn't go in people's houses. A year and a half, we were not allowed in people's houses. So they started to say, so they didn't put them on the market. And the realtors think that there's a shortage of houses. Like all of a sudden, all the aliens, the 1.8 million people that came over to Border this month all bought houses and there's none left for us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Something like
That's
that.
not what happened. It's not what happened. What happened is people just didn't want disease in their house, so they didn't show houses. Then what happened was they decided to wait, and then what happened is a bunch of guys like you and I that just don't give up on we still need to buy houses, figured out how we could start texting them and calling them even though the house wasn't for sale, and too many of us did that, so it became inflation. Inflation means too much money, not enough product. So that means there's one house, 20 buyers. Price goes up.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of demand.
Right. So what's happening is it changed us. It changed me, I should say, because I would call somebody up and just intellectually give them an offer. I'll give you $250,000. Take it. That's the best I can do.
Sure.
And I haven't been buying houses because of it. Because here's what happened. We're not trying to figure out the situation. I'm just like the man with the $500 pony. I'm just offering the guy $500. You're asking the farmer to make a decision on something he's not familiar with. So the farmer says, I got a pony for $500. Well, he's not familiar with the pony. Mm. He's not sure how it will interact with his daughter.
Yep.
Right? Where if I aim for the emotions first, I'm not telling you to knock out the intellect. I'm just saying, where if I aim for the emotions first, then back it up with logic or intellect, it would be more like a natural, instinctive state desire from the seller's circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Mood, yeah. So it's from their seller's circumstances, mood, and relationship with us and others. See, here's what happens is we don't find out what the situation is. I did a call the other night. I think I was on my monthly meeting. I don't remember which one it was. and we were talking about this, and they were, I think it was on the coaching call on Monday night. And one of the things that I brought up is that, because I have a coaching client that just bought a house from a realtor, rehab house.
Right.
And I'm trying, and she knows it. She's got a partner that's a rehabber, so now that she's got him a project, we'll start doing some of the creative stuff, right? So the point is this. I explained to her that a realtor has a code of ethics that they go by, right? Which means there are certain things they can do and certain things they can't do. One of the things that they cannot do, which it's a violation. It's the worst violation they have. And that's disclose the motivation of their client. Whether it's their seller or their buyer, whoever they're representing.
Right.
For some reason, they think that if they disclose the motivation, that it's going to hurt the buyer or the seller and be taken advantage of.
Well, it makes sense if the person had a problem, like I have to leave in 4 weeks, or just something where they have to do something. They think, well, I got an advantage now. He's running out of time. I can offer him less or something like that, or the buyer. They have to move in. They're losing. I have a student of mine who's building a house, and they're late. She's losing her rental. And her son just came back from overseas. Her daughter just came back from college. They're in a 1-bedroom apartment. And the house isn't ready, and they're all crammed into this one place to live. So if people know that, circumstances like that, well, you want this house, if she was buying one instead of building one, it could be like, you're in trouble now, you got to do what I say.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it makes sense, but it's not always like that, but it could be. So they don't do it at all.
So in our industry, the funny thing is that the first thing we want to know is the motivation. And it's not to take advantage of them, but it's just to say what I just said. Yeah. It allows you to make an offer that would be a natural instinctive state derived from the seller's circumstances, mood, or relationship with us and others.
Right. If we know what's going on, we're like the guy with the horse who says, I'll have my guy bring the horse over. We'll show the girl how to ride it. We'll bring you some hay. Just advantages to help with the particular situation, because the farmer was worried. If he buys a $500 horse, what if the little girl doesn't like it? The horse throws her. Right. He won't get his money back, and he's stuck with a $500 horse.
Right. But you have to realize that there's a big underlying lesson in that story. The farmer had two choices: the 500 or the 750.
Yep.
See, in real estate, for a very long time, it was either for sale by owner, do it on your own, or get a realtor. There was not two choices. I mean, there were two choices, but only, so really, technically, it's a monopoly. Fortunately, because of COVID, which is the other cataclysmic thing that happened, is people started to learn that there's a lot of us. Now, we're not organized yet. We will be. If I have my way, we will be someday, but we're not organized yet. But once we become organized, we become the second solution. And we're like the guy with the pony that's offering $750.
Yep.
So since 1949, October of 1949, when the Realtor Association started till now, we'll call it 73 years, they've had a monopoly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, back to the podcast. So, emotions are distinct from reason and knowledge. They're two different things. Now, I want to make a note here. If you have sellers ghosting you, meaning they don't return your calls and they cancel you, not returning calls after they said yes to your offer, then you are making offers on the intellectual basis and missing the emotional part of the deal. Right? So just to bring it full circle and kind of kick you in the nuts a little bit here, this is the deal we had with Joe and his wife. It was too intellectual. It was too much about the numbers. We didn't know what the wife's motivation was. And we didn't know that she was the one making the decisions. We kind of knew that, but we didn't know how important it was.
Yeah, well, we got the husband on the phone for weeks, and then at the very end she shows up. So it's like real late on the chain.
So there's a big difference between want and need.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody wants to sell, then you're it's kind of like this. I made a comment about this to somebody the other day. I think somebody at the cigar shop or wherever I was. It's like when you look at a relationship, right? There's two worlds. There's the guy's world and the woman's world. We'll just say. We'll keep it old-fashioned, okay? The guy's world and the woman's world.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So either the woman goes into the guy's world or the guy goes into the woman's world. That's the way all relationships are. Either the guy goes into the woman's world, like he puts her up on a pedestal and he treats her like a princess, and cows down to her every need and want. And I'm over dramatizing this. Or it goes the other way around. The woman comes into the guy's world and she cows down to whatever he wants. There's not two bosses. There's not two worlds. There's one.
Yeah, well, it's even hard to overlap. Because somebody's, it's only because somebody still has to make a decision. It's not like 10 people and you get a vote and it's 6-4. It's either or,
So here's what happens. When we're hunting for deals, we're looking for people to come into our world and understand what we're doing. And it's not a domination thing. Don't take it wrong. It's not like, master and slave type of thing. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is that they're flexible enough to hear you out, because if you do as we preach, be the most ethical person in the room, everybody's going to win from our transactions. Right? But you can't do that with just intellect. You can't be objective, and you can't do that without common sense. You can't just hit the numbers and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't work. So let's tie this into our secret system formula, which isn't so secret because I've talked about this before, but we're going to label it that today.
Okay.
So number one, it's a 4-step process, right? Number one, you need to find and communicate to a motivated seller. Like Peter says, don't try to convert lack of motivation. It's too hard.
It's not there.
Yeah. So somebody like me can do that, but I don't even waste my time on it anymore because it is a waste of time.
Yeah, it's they go, yeah, but in the end, they won't. If it's really not there, it won't fly.
Right. So
you're saying find the motivated seller. You locate it. It's
like
fishing.
It's
like fishing. They're not there.
So,
they're not there. They're not biting. They're not biting.
So there's so many analogies. You can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it, type of thing, right? How about this? I watch this. I mean, I've got 3 kids. And my daughter's got 2 kids, and I've been around kids, so I think you'll understand this. You got a kid at the kitchen table, and you're trying to get him to eat the broccoli. Can you pick the broccoli up and shove it in their mouth and make them eat it?
Not nowadays.
Well, you could, but the ramifications wouldn't be favorable. Okay.
No, socially, family, legally, police. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Then it won't last long. No, spit it out.
Yeah. So, and it's funny how kids are. I just heard a story the other day. I'm not going to bring up names, but somebody told me that the grandfather died, and the granddaughter doesn't want to participate in the funeral because when she graduated, he didn't come to her graduation. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago.
Are they Italian?
No.
Because, we're pretty good at that vendetta. Like, wait a minute, how many years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Jesus.
All right, so the point is you're better off. I had my wife's ex-husband taught me this. He was a professional wrestler or whatever he was. I don't know if he was pro or not, but he said that in wrestling you have to use the motion that's given to you. So if the other wrestler's coming at you, you don't try to stop him. You use his motion that he's coming at you, and you step aside and you flip him over. So you use his motion to be able to get him to the mat.
Yep.
This is what you're trying to do. This is the way you're going to be successful. Is you're going to use the seller's motion
and emotion,
the movement. Right? Yeah, and that's the way you're going to do it is with their emotion.
That's a good analogy. It really is.
Yeah. So number 2 in the formula is tell the seller what you do. In our particular case, it's make payments until we pay you off or get a discount. Which one do you want? And if you're not, then you whack them. Now, I know I'm pretty far behind in this podcast, but what's the difference between a prospect and a suspect? So a prospect says yes to more of your ideas than no. A suspect says no to more of your ideas than yes. Now notice I say your ideas because they aren't a prospect or a suspect to sell a house. They're all prospects. If they have a house for sale, they're a prospect to sell a house.
Right.
The question is, what method will they use?
Right. And if it's not ours, it's not going to happen.
Then we call them a suspect to our method. Right. They're not a suspect in general. They're just a suspect to tell them what you do. Make payments until paid off or get a discount so you can pay all cash. Yeah. So either they're a prospect for that or they suspect for that. So your job in the beginning when you're combing through your leads and you're talking to people is to immediately in the first 3 to 5 minutes figure that out. Right?
Sure.
And the way we do it is we use the 4 questions, which I'm going to go over pretty soon, but it's price, payment, duration, and deposit if they talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So you ask them what their price is, and it's very simply done like, okay, so I could pay that price if you let me make monthly payments. Would you consider that? And if they say no way, you ask them why. And if they still no, then you ask them for a discount. If they say no to a discount, then you just get off the phone with them.
Yep.
It's done immediately. There's no secret to it.
Yep.
The third step of the formula is ask them what is needed and wanted for them to sell the house, which is my famous question, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? And then the fourth part of it is give them what they need and want. So just to go over the 4 steps again, find and communicate to a motivated seller. Don't try to convert lack of motivation. It's too hard. Number 2 is tell the seller what you do. A, make payments until paid off. B, or get a discount for all cash. Number 3 is ask them what is needed and wanted for them to sell the house. And number 4, just give it to them. Give them what they want. But I need to address giving them what they want first because you can already hear the chatter from our listeners. What do you mean give them what they want? What happens if they want $200,000 for a $150,000 house? Right? How many times have we heard that, Peter?
300, 400, 500, 800.
Yeah. This is why I used my 7 core strategies. One of those strategies will fit what the seller wants. Guaranteed. Right? Now, if you don't know what those 7 core strategies are, just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. On the very bottom of the page, there's a creative real estate 101 course. You can go in there, and there's all the videos on how to do the strategies, use the strategies, how to do loan to value, all the math, all the logic is there. I don't teach the emotion. I just teach the logic of how to do it. Right?
Hey, Bill, when you got the 4 steps, is the 3rd step where we're finding their emotional motivation? Is that when that happens?
Yes. I'm going to go over that in a few minutes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
But that's the secret formula. So the main thing to know is this. In creative real estate, not in all real estate, in creative real estate, the only 2 ways to make money is with the equity, where you buy low and sell high, or the cash flow.
Yep.
Now, in real estate total, there's actually 4 ways to make money with real estate.
Yep.
And they are appreciation, depreciation, equity, and cash flow. But we can't count on the other 2. We can't count on the first 2. So I can't use my calculator because my crystal ball doesn't work well enough for me to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know about appreciation or depreciation. I could do that after the fact, but I can't do that when I'm doing deal structuring. So the 2 that we keep track of is equity, buy low, sell high, or cash flow. Which, if you think about it, what are we telling the seller we can do? When we find a motivated seller, we tell them we can do what? Make payments till paid off,
Yeah.
or get a discount.
Right.
So those are the equity and cash flow.
And that's where the motivation comes in, because if they don't have any, they're not going to like either of those deals.
Oh, no. Don't
No?
be confused. Don't be confused.
Why?
They have motivation. Every seller is motivated. Every seller is motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the cash guy, he might be motivated to get his full asking price.
Yeah.
He may not be motivated to sell the house quickly.
Right. I'm talking about the kind of motivation we're looking for, where we could help them with whatever's going on. As long as it isn't a big, fat number that doesn't do us any good.
Right. So the big thing that they need to be motivated on is you helping them.
Yeah.
Right? And if they're willing to be flexible and they're willing to make more money out of the transaction, save thousands of dollars from closing costs and make more money because we'll overpay if they give us terms.
Uh-huh.
Like, for example, the deal I did last night in the live closing calls, the house is on Zillow for $190,000.
Yeah.
He's asking $230,000. As soon as I get off this call, I'm going to write a contract for $210,000.
Okay.
But I have no money down, and it's $1,096 a month, and I think I can easily get $1,700 a month.
Yeah.
So I got 10 years term.
Good.
Right? So if their numbers are too high, like I was just talking about, no equity for you.
Right.
Like I was just talking about, there's no equity for me. But I'm going to make my equity. In that deal I'm talking about, I'm going to make my equity.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, there has to be cash flow. So if the equity's too high, go in for the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Sure.
Good. Now let's get to the meat and the potatoes of this podcast. Okay?
Surely.
And how to put all this together. The offer and its confusions. See, too many think the offer is some formal procedure. And they have to do what this offer is, or they go to jail. Right? Yeah,
signed by God on one side and the devil on the other, and the IRS and the police watching everything.
Exactly. That's a good analogy there, Peter.
And you're terrified if I write the wrong thing. If I say the wrong thing, it'll get me.
Right. So let's define what an offer is.
Mm-hmm.
So, best and easiest way to explain an offer is to call it a proposal. Right?
Sure.
And a proposal simply means, just look it up on Google, just look up the word proposal, define proposal, and you'll get it. It says, so a proposal simply means a suggestion or a possible plan that is being put forward for consideration or discussion. That's the part of it that you like.
Yeah, I like that. I think you should like it more than you do, because when you give an offer, the guy goes, nah. And you go, well, how about this? So if you don't have a follow-up or another offer, it's not really an offer. It's a one-off. And I see you do it a lot. You go, well, what about that? You might go through 3-4 things, and you finally find the thing that works. So the follow-up and the suggestions that come after
and the discussion,
is big.
The discussion.
Yeah, the discussion is
so,
big. That's what people are
so
afraid to. I think that's what people are afraid to do. They give the offer like, oh, he didn't like it. Yeah, he gets it. But you'll go, okay, what about this? And you discuss it. Well, what's wrong with that? Oh, right. I understand. Now that makes sense, and then you can give a better offer. But you have to talk to people. So that part, to me, is if you don't do that, you don't get it. Because you do it.
Bottom line, Peter, and again, this is a whole podcast. Actually, this could be 3 podcasts if I wanted it to. But if you really study the human mind, at some point you're going to realize the way the human mind works is with mental image pictures.
Yep.
Now, we talked about we talked about analytical mind and we talked about subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. The difference between the analytical mind and the subconscious mind is how much energy the pictures are wrapped in. Analytical, there's no energy. There's no misemotion there. There's no something went wrong to it. It's very A to B, not A to B. It's 1 + 1 = 2. Mm-hmm. Where the emotional side of your mind, which is the subconscious mind, there was something that went wrong with the analytical mind, and the analytical mind has to be right all the time, so I parked it in the subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. Either way, both those minds have mental image pictures. Like when I say to you, picture a Cadillac.
Yep.
Or picture a pony, or picture a cat. Mm-hmm. That's what you see. So the 3 letters, C-A-T, cat, translate, the symbols and letters translate to a mental image picture for you.
Yep.
So once you understand that simple concept, what you're trying to do is extract from your seller their mental image picture of what they think is going to happen. Now, the confusion part is that people don't realize, and I just went pretty profound here, I hope we're okay, but what people don't realize is that when you're talking to a seller, they don't always have a clear picture of what they want. They have an emotion on what they want, not a picture. Well, I want to make $30,000 to pay off my daughter's college fund. Mm-hmm. Or my wife wants to move and put the kids in a new school.
Yep.
See, those are emotions. Those are not mental image pictures. They're just emotions. They feel that way. They haven't thought about how it's going to happen. So your job is to help them walk through that plan. So when I say, what's your proposal? It's a plan or something that you can help them with. You're helping them formulate a plan of how they can get this emotion satisfied. Right?
Yep.
I mean, think of it this way. I'm going through this right now. I'm literally going through this right now. For whatever reason, for about 5 or 6 days, I've had a craving for pizza. Every morning I wake up and think, today I'm going to get pizza.
Okay.
Yesterday was the day. Last night I decided I was going to get the pizza. I called the pizza joint that I normally go to, and they're on vacation.
No.
My wife's like, there's a lot of pizza joints. I'm like, no. I wanted that pizza.
Yeah.
But here's the point. Out of all the things that I could think about, and believe me, I can give you a lot of things that I think about.
Of course.
And should be thinking about.
And shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I just said, I got 3 launches coming up, the podcast, I got deals I'm doing, I got coaching I got to do, it's like all this stuff that I have to have my attention on.
And you want pizza.
And you
want pizza.
And I wake up in the morning and then when I'm thinking in the shower, I'm thinking about pizza.
That's what pizza. Well, they have to have something fun to do as well, Bill.
Why is that? Because the emotion of me eating that pizza, right, is what I'm trying to satiate, what I'm trying to fulfill.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Ever want to have a piece of chocolate cake?
Stop.
Right?
Stop.
Yeah. All right. So you're simply giving suggestions. So the point that I want to make here is an offer is a suggestion. Mm-hmm. Okay? And if you do this by hitting the seller's emotions, by asking them what they need and want, you'll get their natural instinctive state of mind.
Yep.
So let's just do this real quick because I'm like behind on time here, but let's do this real quick.
Yeah.
So you be the buyer, I'll be the seller. We'll do a little role playing. So, Peter, how much are you asking for your house?
Wait a minute. I'm the seller and you're the buyer?
Yeah, did I say it backwards?
Probably. Go ahead.
So, how much are you asking for your house?
$320,000.
Okay, how did you come up with that number?
I look online and I see what some of the sites say, and I check some of the house sales in my area and talk to a couple of friends. Nothing serious, but it seems to be ballpark.
Okay, so pause for a second. He just gave me an emotional answer. He's trying to match the comps to what he wants. It's not logical.
I thought it was pretty logical.
Let's keep moving. So 320.
Yep.
So 320.
Yeah.
Is that what you're fixed on?
Well, I haven't been selling it for very long, so I wouldn't give up yet. So I'm holding on to that for now, for sure. If I can get it, I'm getting it.
I said 390. I said 320. I meant 320. So
yeah.
let me Peter, how about this? I just went on Zillow, and I see that it's on Zillow for $290, and you're asking $320. Is there a reason why you're asking $30,000 over the market value?
Oh, I put in I did a renovation.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the basement's renovated, so I added like about 700, 800 square feet of actual usable space that I don't think they're taking into consideration.
Okay, so pause again. That's all emotion. That's all emotion. It's not logic.
Wait a minute. Why isn't that logical? It's actually it's an upgrade. What's wrong with that?
So let's keep going.
He's not answering me
So
today.
Peter,
Yes.
I'm going to answer you in a minute. So Peter, let me ask you a question. When you sell this house, what were you expecting to walk away with? What did the check say? What number was on the check with your name on it?
I think it's about 140,000 because my payments and etc.
Okay. So what were you going to do with that money?
I'm using it for a down payment. Some of it for down payment on a condo we're moving into down south, and the rest I'm just going to hang on to.
Okay. So why are you moving down south?
My wife wants to go. The weather. We're getting tired of the weather, so our kids are grown. They moved. They're not quite here, so we're not stuck here with our kids. So let's just go someplace we want to go for a change.
Sounds like your wife is sold on it, but you're not.
Well, I'm okay with it because I'm the guy's got to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
So if you didn't sell this house, what would happen?
I'd probably try next year again, or 2 years.
Okay. End of conversation. Is he motivated? No. Did he give me any logic at all? He gave me no logic at all. Everything was 100% emotional. Mm-hmm. His comps were what he went online to do. He didn't go get an appraisal or have a realtor do comparisons for him. Mm-hmm. Right? He told me about the upgrades, the 320 to the 290 was because he did a renovation.
Mm-hmm. But what's wrong with that? You didn't like that. I liked that. What's wrong with that?
Okay, here's the thing. You probably lived there for 20 years and wore out the shit while you were living there, so you had to refresh it to be able to sell it. Mm-hmm. It's not logical.
No, but I was talking about an unfinished basement to finished basement. That's what I was trying to portray. Maybe I didn't get that across.
Okay, so it's not logical that would make a house go from 290 to 320 because I can find comps in that area that are probably similar to what your house is.
Okay.
It's emotional.
Well, it's want. It's want for sure.
Okay, so here's my final point so we can move on. Mm-hmm. Out of that conversation, first of all, I only worked on the price. I didn't work on anything else. I just worked on price. And it was elaborating because most of the time they don't go that far down the rabbit hole. Mm. But I wanted to dramatize it so you can see how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what's going on behind in people's heads? You got to know that, so we should talk about it a little bit.
So here's my question. How much of that conversation was about the house?
Just a little bit that I brought up. And justification for the price.
Right. Other than that, it was mostly about what Peter thinks. What mental image pictures, to the point where I said to him, how much did you envision walking away with? What did the check say? Yeah. So, by the way, he said about 120, 130,000. So that means he owes 200,000, by the way. Mm-hmm. Or somewhere around there.
That's right.
So when I get to payments, I'm going to bring that up because I'm going to say to him, how much are your payments?
Yeah.
Oh, so you probably owe around 200,000. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Right?
That's right.
This is not magic. It probably sounds confusing. It's just being a curious human being.
And asking questions. Now, I have a question on that one. Would you, because the guy said he could wait a year or two and then move, would that walk you into buying it like rent to own or lease option and say, look, I'll lease it from you and then you can move now and then I'll sell it in a couple of years, you get all your money then, and maybe he can swing the deposit some other way?
Yeah, the question that, and because I'm kind of short on time here, but the question that I should have asked, that I would ask when I get down to the payments, like I would ask, do you need the money from this house to go to the other house?
Exactly.
So do you need the 120 grand to buy the condo, or do you just need to make sure this house is secure so you can move on?
Right, because he seems to be willing to wait a couple years to sell it if he has the money to move.
Right. Yep.
So sometimes that information.
Right, so
can
let's
help
move
you
on. So if you look at
formulate
your
deal.
Yes. So if you look at the offer in the light of suggestions and ideas or a plan, and see what indicates to the highest of the seller's emotions, you do the next most important thing. So we call this in sales taking your temperature. Like, when do your indicators come in? Like, when do you get excited, and when do you start engaging more in the conversation? Those are good indicators, right?
Yeah.
We call them telltales. We did a whole podcast on it, like way back at like podcast 100, right? So once we do this, once we realize that the offer is in the light of suggesting ideas or a plan, and see what indicates the highest emotional level of the seller, we move on to building trust, which is the easiest thing in the world to do if you know this. Just make sure your words match your actions at least 3 to 5 times, and you will be surprised at how well it works. So there are simple things like, I'll call you back at 2. I'll send you a document tomorrow. I'll let me go check the taxes and I'll call you back. You set up things 3 to 5 times so you can prove to the customer instinctively, subconsciously, that you do what you say you're going to do. You do that.
Yep.
You make sure that you tell them, I'm going to do this, and then you do it. Okay? So now let's go back to the beginning about what we want to give them.
Yes.
Let's go back to what they need and want, and what you're going to give them.
Okay.
Deal structuring is the easiest thing in the world if you get this one concept. And this is where most people miss it. They think deal structuring is difficult, and they think that my questions are something they have to learn, and that it's going to take them forever because I'm smarter than they are, or something like that, which is not true at all. It's just practice. Okay?
Yep.
Here it is. Now listen to me. This is the simplest I could make it, Peter. This is deal structuring at the core. This is the pinnacle. This is the epicenter. This is so many words I can use here.
101.
This is the this is the basic principle of deal structuring. Ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Pay less than what you sell for.
Oh, wait a minute now. That's awful complicated.
And you always make money. Pay less than what you pay for.
When you buy something small, like, I've bought guitars, sold guitars. I even bought a car or two and sold a car or two, right? It's like one thing, and it's not a big deal. It's like the numbers are really easy. Houses, the numbers are so big. There's loans involved. There's interest and mortgages and taxes. There's a lot of things involved. It makes it, but it's still the same thing, huh?
You pay less than what you can sell for. And you always make money.
Yeah.
And here's the law. This is the Billism.
Yeah.
You can't go broke making profits.
Okay. All right.
You pay less than what you can sell for, and you can't go broke making profits.
Oh.
Here's the concept. Price, payment amount, duration, and deposit if they ask. If you know those 4, and you pay less than what you sell for on all 4 of those categories, you're making profits and you can't go broke.
Yeah.
On each one of these points, you need to compare it to what you think you can sell for. Or as we say in the industry, what the market will pay. So if the seller's asking 200 grand, and you think it will, and you think it will only do 180 grand, you have to look at making your money with the cash flow, and get a low payment and longer duration.
Yeah.
If the seller is asking 170 grand for a house that's worth 200 grand without repairs, but the payments are $1,600 a month, and you can only make $100 a month in payments. You need to make sure the money's in the equity. This is where the magic formula of money now, money monthly, money later comes from.
Yeah, and I noticed that when you talk to people, if they ask for both, you got to get at least one. If they ask more of one, you get more of the other. They want a higher price, you get more cash flow. They'll give you more cash flow, you'll take a high, you'll pay a higher price. But you play those two factors. It's like negotiating with your friend. Like, I want to go to this restaurant. Yeah, but I want to go to that movie then. It's something. You got to get something back.
Right. You pay less than what you can sell for.
Yeah.
See, you compare the seller's asking price at each point, the price, the payment, and oh yeah, by the way, the payment doesn't necessarily have to be the payment from the seller. It could be the payment from your hard money lender. Payment is payment. It could be the subject to payment from the bank. Payment is payment.
Yeah.
Right? Duration is duration. If I have somebody that's trying to muscle me into doing a 2-year lease option, I may not want to do the deal because I don't think I can off it in 2 years. Right? So I may blow the deal up.
Yeah.
So these 4 numbers have to balance to get money monthly, money now, money monthly, money later.
Yeah, if the person will give you a very, very short time, you have to give them less money, less payments, less something. That's about. So you get one. It's a give and take, basically.
So what makes a deal exciting? What makes a deal exciting is when you can get the seller to agree to numbers that no matter what you do when you bring this to market, you're going to have a popular property with your buyers. A lot of buyers are going to want it, and no matter what you do, you're going to make money. Right? Like, for example, one time we bought a house for, $29,000, and we sold it for $193,000.
Yep.
We had a $40,000 wholesale profit and decided to renovate it, not wholesale it.
Yeah.
No matter what we did with that house, no matter what we did with it, it made a pile of money.
Yeah, you couldn't go wrong.
Right?
Yeah, people say, do you make profit how you buy?
Yeah.
You buy it right, then you'll be okay.
When your money's when you buy. You make your money when you buy. You collect it when you sell.
That's a good way. That's the way to say it.
So just like the farmer looking for a pony for his daughter, how popular would each of the 2 offers be? Intellectual or emotional? $500 intellectual, logic, no emotion, offer without perks or proof, cut and dry, no common sense, just I'll give you $500. No reason why.
Yeah. Just a number.
Yeah. I'm asking $500 because it took me 20 years to make this pony. No reason. There's no justification. Or $750 for the emotional experience that doesn't allow the person to walk off a cliff. So, just to wrap up here, the way you do deal structuring is if you have some concept, and you don't have to go analyze the hell out of it, but some concept of what you can sell for. And then when you talk to the seller, you need to be less than that. Right?
Yeah, that was a big deal when you came up with that a few months ago. Because, we think, I don't know what it's going to sell for. But you just go online, you look at what rents are like, or what the mortgage would be, or what comps are like, and what somebody would pay a little more for. If it's a lease option, they may pay more than usual. So, we have a little bit of we can kick it up 5 or 10% because we sell rent to own often. Those type of things. You just think about that a little bit. And we forget that. We don't think about that. We're in the house like, I don't know if I can offer that. Well, think of what you're going to get. I mean, that's if you were buying and selling pencils, that you would do. So there's a few more factors you might have to think of, but you think about them, and then you feel more comfortable when you're making the offer. Because you do that without even thinking. We don't do that without thinking. So we're more nervous about it. But you just take a few minutes, and you start getting used to it, especially after you do a few deals, and you see how it works out.
Well, if I have a rough seller that I'm trying to convert, I will say to them, would you pay $230,000 for this $190,000 house?
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
And I get them to get the viewpoint of the buyer.
That's a great question.
Right. So here's the thing. We're going to do price, we're going to do payment, we're going to do duration, and we're going to do deposit.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask the price, how much you asking for the property, the emotion comes with why. Why do you feel that way? Mm-hmm. Why do you think that way? Why are you motivated to do it that way? Why are you able to do whatever? These are all emotional concepts, and they're trying to justify the number.
Yep.
So the price, the payment, the duration, and the deposit or down payment is the logic or the intellect. The reason they're doing it, the reason why they're doing it is the emotion. Mm-hmm. So just like I did the role playing with Peter, I dramatized a little bit, but when I did that, dramatized, it means I embellished it, right? So the reason why it works is because you want to get those four things, and then you need to dig in and ask why. What's the emotion behind it? Why do you feel that way? What's making you make that decision? What mental image picture are you looking at that you're telling me this is what you're trying to say?
Right, but I see when you get that, and I try to do this, but I see when you get that, you go, oh, I can help you do that if we structure the deal this way and I do this, this, this. And a lot of times they say, you can do that? Yeah, we can do this, 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 and then you'll achieve what you're trying to accomplish. That's why you're asking the questions, so you can somehow work the deal out so it helps them with that.
So my last statement is all sellers are liars. They don't mean to be, but they're just quizzing you like children do. They're quizzing you. And they're trying to protect themselves. Like when you say, how much do you owe? They're trying to protect themselves. They feel like if you knew that you're gonna give them less money. Like my guy last night was asking $230. He only owed $97.
Okay.
I don't care how much they owe. It's how much I got to pay.
Yeah.
So the number one rule is this: test everything they say. Test everything they say. And the way you do that is by asking why. Ask why. The test is ask why. Test everything they say.
Yeah.
Quiz it. Why did you come up with that price? Why are you making that payment? How long is the mortgage? Mm-hmm. Right? Why? Test it. Test everything they say till you feel like they're telling you the truth.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the bonus. Too many rookies dwell on the questions to ask sellers, when in truth, the answers, I don't know why I'm reading that. I don't even know what it means. When in truth, the answers and feedback are 1,000 times more valuable than the questions. Mm-hmm. So the questions, you guys are all worried about what questions ask. You should worry about the feedback and the answers more than the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, their answers lead to another better question or a solution to something or a problem that you can solve. Listen more than talk.
The link in the chat gives you a 2-page document. And what happens is you have to fill out the form. So on the top of the form, you fill out what the seller is asking, the price, the payment, the duration, and the deposit. Mm-hmm. And then on the bottom of the form, it's how much you think you could get for price, payment, duration, and down payment. And then in the middle is a box. So you have a top box, how much you got to pay. On the bottom is a box on how much you can sell for, and in the middle is what you can make for an offer. Mm-hmm. And it two-dimensionally, in other words, with paper and pencil, you can work out your offers.
Yeah.
Before you talk to a seller. You can write down all the information on the top of the form, and then just use this form to actually mechanically figure out your offers. So if you go into the description, there's a link there, and you could go grab that document for free. Okay.
That's really good. You sent me one last night. Just did this. It was really good. It's a real game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when you feel confused in your head, what you should or shouldn't do, that helps you solve all that.
It takes away all the guessing on how to do creative real estate.
Yep.
Offers.
Yep.
Okay, good. So we're 9 minutes past the hour. I can't seem to get them under the hour, but I try really hard. But anyways, it doesn't matter because people listen to us. So here we go. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you like us if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube. Also, if you have any questions, you can send a support ticket to flippinghouses for rookies.com, and on the top right hand side is a support ticket, and give us a review. That's how we get our report card, is what you think of us, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. So with that said, thank you for being with us. Thanks for all the support you guys give us, all the feedback, all the things that you guys tell us is awesome. So, Cashflow Johnny says, thanks, fellas. It's been a blast. We're over and out. Have a good week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.